Hello YouTube model railroaders. Today I'm going to be running the MTH Railking Imperial SD70 ACE diesel locomotive. This particular engine here was released about 4 months ago from MTH. The particular model I'm running today, the paint scheme is the Union Pacific / George Bush 41. It's in the presidential series. It's painted up to look like Air Force One, the presidential jet. If you're wondering why they call this a Railking Imperial, the reason being the amount of detail and the level of attention that this engine gets, it's almost the same as the Premier locomotives. This engine has separately applied grab irons like the Premier locomotive, has the front and rear metal chains, has the smoke unit, has the oscillating ditch lights, has the crew members in the cab, the engineer and the conductor, has the same Proto 2.0 that's in the Premier engine. I actually have some Premier SD70 ACEs, and it's the same identical sound set, same startup sounds, same shutdown sounds, same crew talk. It's 17 1/4 inches long versus 18 1/2 inches versus the Premier version. But I'll tell you what, for a semi-scale engine, this engine is phenomenal. The amount of detail on this engine is unbelievable. And I don't think you'd be disappointed if you bought it. It runs on 031 track, which a lot of model railroaders would be able to run this. And like I said, the only detail I see that is not on this engine, it's on the Premier model. It doesn't have the metal grills on the see-through metal grills on the radiator, and it doesn't have the spinning roof fans. But the way MTH painted up the roof fans, it really looks good. And for a semi-scale engine, this engine's beautiful. And putting all politics aside, this is an actual Union Pacific engine. This engine is actually on the Union Pacific roster. That's why they numbered this 4141, because the first George H. Bush, he was the 41st president. And this paint scheme was applied to a brand new SD70 ACE diesel locomotive back in 2007. And this main paint scheme was made up on account of the opening of the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum. In fact, this engine was actually on display at the museum for a few days when the museum first opened up. So like I said, this is an actual engine that does exist on the Union Pacific roster. I've seen pictures of this engine, photographs, I've seen videos of it, and it seems like they run this a lot with some of the specialty Union Pacific excursion passenger trains, and I've also seen it intermixed with the Union Pacific Heritage Series fleet. Those are the engines that honor all the railroads that the Union Pacific Railroad bought, such as the Rio Grande, Southern Pacific, Chicago Northwestern, the Katy, all those railroads. So it's an actual locomotive. And one other thing I'd just like to say hello to Nick, Pittsburgh train fanatic. Just wanted to let you know that your layout is looking phenomenal, and keep up the good videos. I enjoy them immensely. And one other thing I'd just like to say too, a lot of you are probably wondering how MTH with this Railking Imperial and Lionel with the Lion Master series can make these semi-scale engines actually look so good. I mean, they almost look scale-like. And the reason that they look so good, they use a manufacturing process called selective compression. And what they'll do, the draftsmen, when they come up with the final sizes of this locomotive, they'll take the scale drawings and they'll put in the dimensions that they want this final model to be, the lengths, the widths, the heights, and the computer will actually downsize everything to a point where it's aesthetically pleasing, and everything is downsized proportionately to make it look good. That way it doesn't have like, I mean, you know, just doesn't look like a squared off box. It really looks like a good, nice engine detailed with scale features. And that was just a little tidbit I added in there to let you know how they do these engines. So let me run this engine for you. I think you'll enjoy it.
set to go. Ready when you are. Okay, ready to pull out.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I love model trains. That's why I try to give a little brief description about the engine too, because I'm not only a model railroader, but I'm also a rail fan. And I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and hope to be posting another video real soon. Thank you very much.